Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the Franchising 360 show brought to you by FranCoach. I am Tim Parmeter, and with me as always is Danielle Wright.
That's me.
Danielle and I are here to talk to you about all things franchising. We're gonna take a 360-degree view of this industry, this amazing industry. We're gonna talk about things you need to focus on when you want to become a franchise owner, how to be more successful once you are, and how to even take that existing business and turn it into a franchise that's maybe a national and international mega franchise one day. So, which is the term we've just now coined. So,
mega franchise.
Speaking of mega franchises,
Yeah.
Friday franchise fun fact.
Look at you.
I know.
Score.
What do we got for us?
All right, I gotta pull it out of a fictitious bag. Here we go. All right. Speaking of mega franchise, as you said, McDonald's.
It's called a segue in the industry.
Yeah, I'm new to this, so roll with me. McDonald's didn't invent the fast food franchise model.
They did not invent the fast food model.
Right.
Okay.
So you got 3 guesses on who did.
Okay, I'm gonna go with A&W.
No. Next. We could be here a while.
Wow.
Speed it up. Pick a different one.
Burger King.
No. Next. You're never gonna get it.
I'm never gonna get it?
You're never gonna get it.
Denny's.
No, they're not a fast food model.
Oh, back in the day they were a donut place.
But
Did you
they're
know
not
that?
a fast food model.
Okay, what is it?
It is White Castle.
Oh, man.
And you wanna know when?
1914.
Pretty close.
I was at the grand opening.
Were you?
Yes.
It was 1921.
So here's my question about White Castle. For anybody that's ever been to White Castle, and if you have, you're gonna
Or
understand
you don't
this,
know what White Castle is. I know Crystals.
It's kind of the same, like these little bitty, but I'm like, the percentage of their customers that are sober versus not at White Castle.
I think that's for a totally different show.
You think?
Yep.
Okay. So, but I wonder, was that during Prohibition? Maybe you had to actually just eat the little hamburgers.
You asked for one fact. This is the fact.
That was the fact?
There we are.
Okay. So I love the fun facts, and we talk about, turning your business into a mega franchise someday.
Right.
Like McDonald's.
Yes.
Kind of what we're going to talk about today, is a little bit of that.
Yeah, I'm excited about this because now we get to go toe to toe.
Toe to toe, right?
Franchisor, franchisee.
Right. So let's set the table here for a second.
Okay.
So Danielle has worked in franchising for over 15 years.
Yes.
All on the franchisor side.
Yes.
Working for brands, and the last several years owning a consulting company, consulting franchisors.
Yes,
right?
that want to be mega franchises.
Right. And so for the last 11 years, I've owned FranCoach, and we are here to help people become franchise owners, helping them find the best one for them, right? So we have a unique and different perspective on things as we go through here.
Yes.
And there are things that I am going to be very adamant about or get cranky with a franchisor, and then vice versa. So
this is our pillow talk.
Today,
now we're bringing it here.
And if you're going to mention pillow talk, we might also mention we are married, so it's not like ridiculously creepy. So okay. So
that's another element. Here we are.
What we want to talk about today is from both the franchisor side and the prospective franchisee
Yes.
and actual franchisee, is the differences between an emerging brand and something that is more established.
Yes.
Right? So start with, when we talk about emerging brands in franchising, what does that mean?
So emerging brands means they have 0 franchisees up to 100 franchisees or units. So that's
Right.
a debate that you
Right.
have and we have as far as
Is it
franchisor.
units or people? But usually in that case, you're
100
usually
is the
looking at-
magic number.
It's kind of when you're like a grown-up, so to speak, in franchising when you get to that point, right?
Right. You've kind of figured out how to do this, how to support people. You've got a few more programs in place. You're doing things a little bit better. There's still more room to grow. And then you miss a couple of steps, and then you have to have about 500 franchise owners, locations to be what you call as an established brand.
Gotcha. And then there are some behind the scenes things even with that of, is that franchise a standalone owned by themselves, or are they part of a larger group that can kind of even like muddy it up a little bit more with everything too.
Because you're talking what we call platform companies or parent company,
right?
Just a more global organization that's picking up the smaller guys.
So it's not here's the parent or the platform, and underneath there are multiple franchisors.
Generally, all in the same vertical. Like they're take away the name, take away what it does. It's still got a guy in a truck, or it's got this and that. Like it's some type of food concept that all kind of stays in the same.
We had Trent Huey on a few months ago from Neighborly, which is the largest provider of home services, and I think there's 19 different brands underneath that, right?
That was more, but okay.
19 in the U.S.
Oh, okay.
So for our international viewers, there's more, but don't quote me on that. So we're going to talk a little bit about
we're going to talk, or we're going to fight. Like dukes up,
gonna be
come
throw
on.
Down.
Okay, just checking. I want some excitement up in here.
Just like I do in the personal side and the professional side, I'm going to lose, but I'm gonna.
But you're gonna look pretty doing it.
I am gonna try. So we're gonna talk about some of the pros and cons of emerging versus more established versus the big ones, because there's not a right or wrong. It's going to be ultimately what's best for you
and the type of relationship that each wants to have. Absolutely.
So that and a whole bunch more here on the Friday night fights of the Franchising 360 show when we return. Hey, we are back on the Franchising 360 show. Tim Parmeter along with Danielle Wright. It is Put Up Your Dukes night tonight. We are going to take on us, the little people, the franchisees versus the big bad franchisor.
Sure. Okay.
There are times people kind of think it's this adversarial thing, and
it is.
Probably sometimes it is. But like most relationships, when both parties are doing what they're supposed to be doing, it should be a pretty smooth partnership, in theory.
In theory.
Right?
Right.
But there's some massive differences, and not right or wrong, but this is where I always say it's each person, this is so individualized of what the best franchise is for somebody to own. And part of that, and rarely do people think of this, the size of the franchise, how big, how small, and those differences. Talk a little bit about maybe some of those differences just in the personnel within a more emerging versus a larger franchise system.
So in an emerging brand, they're still kind of bootstrapping like a lot of startup businesses would. They don't necessarily have as much depth in their leadership. They were generally the owners, the founders, the operators, the doing it, and also then trying to grow the franchise brand. So you're getting a lot of personal touch points with people that have actually put the boots on and done the work. On the more established brand, they have built an infrastructure of support that kind of insulates those original founders if they're still there, right?
Because we were sometimes talking, they may not be, right?
Parent company, platform, brand, what have you. The goal is eventually to exit,
right?
Because everyone should start with the end in mind. I don't want to do this forever, so what does it look like to get there? And those people have done that at that level.
And so with some of the emerging brands, I mean, you may have they may be small enough that the head of the organization is probably the founder, CEO, so this is their baby. You may have them directly on speed dial versus nobody's got McDonald's CEO on speed dial, right? So from that standpoint, so that can be a big difference for somebody that likes those kind of touch points versus somebody that wants more kind of depth in an organization, right?
Right, I think so. I think part of what we're trying to accomplish from the Dukes Up perspective is you're trying to help someone find the right opportunity. And the franchisor, and things that we don't talk about a lot here, it's franchisor gets as much choice as your guys want to buy. Like I can tell your people all day long, sorry, you're not the right fit. So what we're looking for...
Wait, say that again, right? Because I think that is one of the biggest, the word I struggle with, myths. So in doing this is that I got the money off, I'm going to pick whatever franchise I want and they're just going to take my money, and that's not at all
But that goes back to we use words specifically for a reason. You're not buying this.
Correct.
Yes, you are. There's a transaction occurring, but the franchisor is looking for the right fit in an owner that matches their culture and understands how they're going to grow, whether it's a brand new brand or it's an established brand. And there's a lot of franchisees that potential franchisees, candidates, whatever we would like to call them, that think, hey, I can just write a check. I should be able to have that.
Right.
And that's not how partnerships Did you do that when you got your bride? Did you pay me to be your bride? The answer is no.
Many have wondered how I pulled that off.
This is not an arranged marriage in some sort of fashion. It's the same thing about looking at a business opportunity. You guys, everyone has to be on the same page.
Right.
I want you to have the money to be able to
Right.
buy it and sustain your life. But at the end of the day, I'm looking as the ZOR for a specific type of match that may make you at FranCoach and your FranCoachers not so happy when you introduce a client to us. But if we don't see the success element in them, why am I just going to take their money? It's going to be a failure, and that's going to hurt me.
Do you find a more emerging brand is pickier, or are they more willing to, man, we just need anybody to be able to grow?
It's a great question, but I don't think that swings like a pendulum, right? Depends on the brand, depends on who's coaching them, because a lot of new brands are getting consultants like myself to kind of, hey, what do we do? Are we more picky on the front and really stick to the type of person that we are? I would also say, we always talk about it, and a lot of people talk about it, that I don't have a crystal ball that's going to tell me if you're going to be good or you're not going to be good. So it's really kind of laying down that I need these 3 to 5 character traits, and I need to know that they're showing up in that way for it to make sense to award you a franchise. Being coachable is a big piece of this puzzle. Yeah.
And not to sidetrack us, but I think I'm sure there's somewhere is the definition of grit, right? Like,
an overused word these days,
stuff's gonna go wrong, right? And when you're a franchise owner, I don't care how great the plan is, it's gonna go wrong. You got to be able to figure stuff out and get past it.
And brands are looking for that, and it's not. You'll never get a formal interview. This isn't applying for a job, but every person looking at a brand should consider it as applying for a job. A little less formal. No one's gonna pay you to take this,
right?
But you also have to remember they're looking for someone specifically to do the heavy lifting.
Some of the support things that franchisors are bringing, marketing, operations, tech, whatever, and there can be some great differences between emerging and more established.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of those differences so people can kind of see both sides and help them decide which one might be the best.
I guess that means it was a break, so I got to put the gloves down, put the fists away, that kind of thing.
They're going to splash water on us, and the doctor's coming over, and we'll be fine.
All right.
A little bit more on this on the Franchising 360 show when we come back. We are back on the Franchising 360 show. I'm Tim Parmeter with Danielle Wright. We are talking about some of the differences between emerging franchises versus more established, things the franchisor are looking for, and maybe things a prospective franchisee are looking for. What are some of those, like maybe the emerging brand versus more established? Which one tends to have more like structure and you're doing it this way versus maybe being a little looser?
Well, personally, they all should have structure, right? And here's how to deliver the product and service and what have you.
Rigidness of the
Correct.
structure.
So like on the break, we were just talking about that same thing. Am I the type of person that needs to, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, like you have to follow it in detail?
Right.
Or do I want a little choice, right? Because we use the word entrepreneur very fluidly in franchising. And yeah, you have to have an entrepreneurial spirit, that grit thing, that figure it out thing. But the reality is in a more established brand, like we were talking McDonald's, it's, you're going to wear this, you're going to do this, you're going to say that. Like we talk about Chick-fil-A. What is the thing that they always say when you say thank you?
My pleasure.
Right. So you will say it that way because that is the way that you are supposed to do that. But if you went to some random chicken franchise, you're probably not going to say my pleasure. You're going to be able to make some choice into some decisions.
So there's still a plan no matter what, right? It's just a matter
Otherwise,
of,
they're not a franchise.
If we think of from a marketing perspective, a bigger, more established brand is probably going to give you less choice in the ways in which you're marketing.
They want your money.
Right.
They want you to participate in the program, but they're going to set up like, I worked for Checkers and Rallies, like they set up the LTOs, limited time offer.
Right.
These are the promos that we're doing in this quarter. Participate. Like if we're selling 2 burgers for the price of 1, everyone's doing it, but
Right.
they had 900 plus locations.
And the thought is, this ain't our first rodeo. We've been doing this a while.
Right.
We've done all
we
the A/B
understand
testing.
consumer behavior.
Right.
We know who our client is. Like we've got the design teams in house. Again,
Right.
they had a corporate center that had 2 floors and 100 plus employees, established brands.
Right.
When you're in the micro emerging or emerging brands, you've probably got 20 to 50 employees at any one given time, and people are doing dual roles and jumping in and supporting.
It's not so much a marketing team as this is Beth in charge of marketing,
Right.
And maybe some of that's in-house, some of that's outsourced,
Right.
So it's just so you have a little more autonomy within. I always heard it initially as like guardrails on a road,
Yeah.
right? It's like, is it a 1-lane road? Like you stay in your lane and do this versus
which
here's
is more of the established
Right.
brands want that. And then again, this is the conversation of if you're looking to own a franchise, kind of understand, be reflective, self-reflective, be aware of what you want in a business model or a partnership and in a relationship, because that awarding thing comes from that space. Is if I as a franchisor can't, like you're running rogue during the discovery process, you're reaching out to all of these people, you don't want to own a franchise. Like you want to do your own thing. Bless your little heart.
It's one of the things, even for people that we work with at FranCoach that are going, there's a process we are taking them through and that the franchisor is going to take them through. And if you can't follow that, like we've probably answered the question whether
and we have
this
a
is
lot
for
of
you.
people that we've worked with that are very detailed and structured. You're not going to want this brand that's here figuring it out.
Right.
You're going to want to know that here's the 200-page operations manual. You're the person that's going to sit there and read the whole 200-page.
Right. You're going to read it. I'll watch the videos. I'll be
You're going to earmark it. You're going to highlight these things, anything that conflicts with it. All of the sudden, like there's emails and texts and phone numbers going everywhere.
And it's so important to remember there's not a like right or wrong or it's always best, right? And I think even for us when we're working with people is we'll show them both sides, right? Here's a brand, this is really established. Here's one a little newer, because nobody really knows what that is all about until they get in there and can kind of see both sides.
And then you've worked with, I think I love the examples. So you have a client that you...
Yeah, like when he first came to us in 2019 was incredibly burnt out on the corporate world, right? I don't know if anybody else can like feel that or not. But as we were looking at franchises, the one he ended up going with was more emerging, family run, right? Like probably half the people in the corporate office have the same last name.
Speed dial, whoever.
Right? And really a lot gave him a little more autonomy. It was more relaxed, right? And he did amazing. He owns an entire state for that franchise now. He came back last year looking for the next brand, and first thing out of his mouth, I needed something more structured, right? Because he had done that and literally went to a massive organization for the next one. So we really could just plug and play, right?
Okay.
And so first one was one way, kind of knee-jerk reaction from the corporate. And then the second one was, again, he got both sides of it.
Well, that's...
And again, right, it's the...
I can't argue with that, but at least he knew, right? A lot of times people don't. And then when they come to us as the franchisor, they tell us all the things they want us to believe that they believe. And then I've had so many go wrong after the award. Well, I was told this and then this happened. Well, you weren't told this and this is what you were told, but
it's
now
why
it's
you
actually
say it's
happening.
not an interview, right? In an interview for a job, we might be inclined to say whatever we have to say to get said job, right?
Like I like people and talking to them.
You have to be really honest with yourself on all of these things and to be able to know, like, yeah, I can do that. I don't want to do that anymore, right? Or I can deal with this, but I'm much more comfortable over here. And that compare and contrast is huge. So let's finish this up right after this break here on the Franchising 360 show. Welcome back to the Franchising 360 show. I'm Tim Parmeter with Danielle Wright. We are talking about a lot of the differences between emerging and more established franchisors, things you need to be thinking about to ultimately find, the whole thing is find your best fit.
And how can we duke it out?
And we're kind of like, because
you're not as feisty. I'm feisty. Let's go. Give me something to fight with, man.
So I'm looking at, you're an emerging franchise. I am
Yes, I am.
looking at your brand.
Yeah.
But Danielle, like, I want more information on like historical data of your franchise owners. How am I supposed to know what this system is really going to do?
I don't know. It's on that FDD thing.
It's, well, that's all crap anyway. So,
Okay.
But that is one of the challenges, right? There's
Yes.
just not as much.
Well, you're not going to get a history of, 1,000 locations,
Right.
But who can digest 1,000 locations? I don't even think you get that information in some of the established brands. They
Right.
bucket it into different
You may just have a
little.
longer history of maybe a brand they've only
Okay.
been around 5 years
Okay.
versus somebody that's been around.
But why
for,
do I want to know that?
Because you're overanalyzing things, trying to find a
gonna
reason not
say,
to do it.
Like, just because you do that doesn't mean I'm going to do
Was
that.
that too honest of an answer?
Not at all. It's
No,
our show. We can say whatever we want.
I think it's been, but it is a concern people have, whether it is, I can argue whether the validity of it or not,
Okay.
right? But in some ways, the newer ones, and you're talking to owners that have been 2, 3, 4, 5 years, they're still, the rawness of the beginning is a little fresher versus the owner that's been around for 20 years. That's like me telling my kid I walked uphill in the snow both ways to school. Yeah, did you really? But if everybody I'm talking to is in the first 2, 3 years, yeah, this franchisor, they're new. Are they really supporting you?
But they're still there.
They're still there,
Like,
right?
because you could not be there after year 1 or after month 6, right? But if they're there 1, 2, and 3, means they have that grit thing you were talking about. They're
Right.
figuring out, and no one really wants to fail.
Right.
So the whole micro emerging, established, every franchise is looking for someone that's willing to put in the effort and the work.
Do you think a more emerging brand is more likely to care about me and make sure I don't fail versus a bigger one?
We say that. I mean, yeah, the reality is yes, they should. Do they? I don't know. I can't speak for every emerging brand out
Right.
there. But the failure of the system when you're multiplying it is a heightened awareness for the franchisor.
Right.
So yes, they don't want you to fail, but at the end of the day, I can't control you. Like, you're going to do whatever you're going to do, and the freedom and flexibility that you get over here to make decisions is concerning, because you could then just take it all down
Right.
just in one action, where in the established model you don't get that. They're bigger, they're going to tell you what to do, because that's going to be the success, the 20-year mark.
You've got a little more, in theory, a little bit more ability to affect the entire brand.
Yes.
When it's a little bit younger.
Right.
So again, you have to kind of think of who you are as a human being. I want plug and play, make this as simple, give me a whole team of people all over the place to help me. That's probably not emerging, right? Like, hey, I want a little bit more latitude, and maybe I can find some things.
And I think most of the people I've ever talked to, and all the emerging brands, and there have been a lot of them in my privy, we think we want this.
Yeah.
We think that because we've been an employee and working for someone, and I don't want that. I don't want someone telling me what to do, is the consistent
Right.
message. But when you get over here, there is no one telling you what to do.
Yeah.
And that's actually very scary, to the fact of, I've now gone a complete reverse of what I know. I want something in between. And that's kind of the point, is find the thing that matches for you, pick the 5 things that are important,
Correct.
and roll with it.
And for our team, is when we introduce people to franchises, I kind of joke, it's like the 3 bears of like, this one's too hot, this one's too cold, this one is like kind of just right in the
Right.
middle. Here's something really big, here's something very small, or something in the middle. And it doesn't matter which one people choose, right? It's what's best for them. But being able to see those, because you just don't really know until you can dive into those
And I
conversations.
think the point of this whole episode, and why we're doing the franchisor franchisee series of things, is like, it just reiterates, there's no perfect franchise. There's no perfect business. There's only the things that you want to be doing and the things that you don't want to be doing.
And if anybody tells you there is a best franchise, a top industry, they are lying, or they are selling you something. So next week, let's kind of do the same thing, but let's talk about Meet the Team Day. I can't believe we haven't really talked about this yet.
Man,
So-
I wish I had some gloves for next week.
Well, maybe we'll go find.
Yay!
Okay. We'll DoorDash us
Smack
some
you
right
around
now.
a little bit.
But until then, check out everything we have for FranCoach on our YouTube channel. All of our episodes are Franchising 101 podcast. There's a bunch of other stuff there. If you like reading, Becoming a Franchise Owner is on Amazon. So check that out. Until next week, that is Danielle Wright.
That's me.
I'm Tim Parmeter. This has been the Franchising 360 Show.